It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy Silverado, the official truck of the outdoors.
Hi everybody, your Southwest Outdoors Report is on the road again today in the middle of Oklahoma. I'd like to welcome you on a beautiful sunny day just outside Okmulgee, Oklahoma to Dripping Springs State Park and Dripping Springs Lake. This is part of a two-lake complex. We'll be telling you much more about that a little bit later on in the show. This lake is managed for trophy bass fishing. Give you some details about that as well. It's a great bass lake, some crappie in it as well, and we'll give you all the information. We've got Mike Taylor, who's a local resident and a fishing guide here on both Dripping Springs and Okmulgee Lake. He'll show us a few of his hot spots and he'll do a little fishing as well. Maybe we can show you a few good largemouth bass on today's show. And while I'm doing that, we're taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports from the rest of Oklahoma with Gary Dollahan, Texas Freshwater with Brian Hughes, Texas Saltwater along the Gulf Coast with Bill Olson, and over in Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin. Also, this week on the Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, I'll be showing you a great place to catch catfish in the upcoming catfish spawn in Texas. We'll have your big fish photo on the big catch of the week, the Academy Right Stuff, and much more. But right now, we're taking the Nitro Z8 out into the lake, do a little experimenting around, see what we can find today, and you go back to the FSN studios for your Chevy weekend plan.
A check of the fishing tables for the weekend indicates fair conditions on Saturday and good fishing on Sunday. The peak times will start in the mornings at around 8 a.m. Expect sunrise to take place at 6:22 and the sun will be setting at 8:28. Evenings look to have very little moonlight with only 16% of the moon illuminated. If you're looking for something to entertain the kids, Chevy Kidfish is sponsoring events on Saturday in Harker Heights, Texas. Visit the Kidfish website to get all the details. We'll be right back with your freshwater and coastal updates from the state of Texas and all the other reports from around the Southwest.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy, is brought to you by Chevy Silverado, the official truck of the outdoors. Buy quality award-winning Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Lawrence, maker of the HDS, high-definition systems, and Academy. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Fish on, he's swimming with it. He's swimming, got it. Here he is. That's a decent fish. All right, come up. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, I got one to bite. Oh, he slung my biffle bug off. But I've got some here in the floor, I'll show you. All right, there's the first decent fish. Welcome back, everybody. We're on Dripping Springs Lake in Oklahoma today, and doing some largemouth bass fishing. That's just about maybe a 3-pound bass, something like that. We're gonna go ahead and let him go back real quick. I'll give you a little information here. All right, that's a good start. That bass bit a Jean LaRue biffle bug. It's a little creature bait. I'll show it to you and how I'm rigging it today at the end of the show on the Academy Right Stuff feature. But first, let me give you the lay of the land on the two lakes that you have to choose from if you're coming to Okmulgee. First of all, this is the newer lake that I'm on right now. It's Dripping Springs. It's about a 1,000 surface acre lake. It's characterized by a lot of standing timber, as you can see here, mostly out in the creek channel and out toward the middle of the lake. And around the entire shoreline, there are just miles of weed beds. Some of them are in real shallow water, a foot deep or so, but some of them run on out to 3 or 4 feet. That bass hit on the outside of one of these weed beds in about 3 feet of water, hopping that little Texas rig biffle bug along. So, 2 good lakes to fish here. This particular lake is managed for trophy bass fishing, which means anything between 16 and 22 inches long must be released unharmed immediately back into the lake. All right, let's check in right now with Brian Hughes, the rest of your Texas freshwater fishing reports, the Lone Star Lakes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by realrecovery.org. Now, we're going to start at the Lake Livingston area, where guide Simon Cosper tells us that hybrids and sand bass are just going nuts on Lake Livingston. Fish the main lake points and look for bait fish schools to locate these fish. You'll want to throw slabs and diving crankbaits in order to catch your fish. Now, above and below Livingston on the Trinity River, they're catching a lot of gar. As a matter of fact, a new state record rod and reel gar was caught, weighing 200 pounds, 7 foot, 9 inches long. If you're going to go after one of these trophies, you're going to need some extra heavy gear. Saltwater rod, heavy braided line, wire leader, 6, 7, 8/0 hook with a half or a quarter chicken as your bait. Above the lake in the Trinity River, Parks and Wildlife reports over 9,000 gar, 48 inches long or longer, so you can catch plenty of these fish in the Trinity River. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by realrecovery.org. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, Texas Outdoors Journal brings you this week's report. For the very best monthly coastal and inland fishing information, plus year-round hunting tips, check out our award-winning magazine. Pick up a copy of Texas Outdoors Journal on newsstands or subscribe securely at the website on the screen. Well, the Memorial Day holiday is this weekend, and that means coastal anglers will want to be entered in the summer-long CCA Star Tournament, and they'll also have to contend with the crowds. To beat the crowds, fishing in the afternoon and early evening is a good bet. Higher tides have flooded more back lake areas, and that's where the fish are going to be found. On days that the winds have been light, the surf has started to produce. Packery Channel, in fact, has been on fire with speckled trout, redfish, and Spanish mackerel. You might want to tie on a titanium leader because kingfish could very well show up over the holiday weekend. The Galveston, Surfside, Port Aransas, and Fish Pass jetties have also posted good reports. On the upper coast, Sabine, Trinity, and Galveston bays have seen good fishing under the birds on light wind days. Now on the lower Laguna Madre, quality specs have come from Mexicito Flats as well as South Bay. Live bait and soft plastics have caught fish. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
There's one, he's got it. Got him. Not bad. All right. Little patch of weeds out there in the middle of nowhere. And that fish got it. All right. You dead? You tired? He's tired. Up he comes. All right, there's a good one hooked right in the bottom of the jaw. Hey, we're headed to a quick break right here. I'm gonna let that fish go back, and I wanna show you something. Right now, you are looking right here behind us in a little creek at Mike Taylor. Mike is a local who lives in Okmulgee. He guides on both lakes, Dripping Springs and Okmulgee Lake, and he just caught a monster bass out of this lake. I mentioned that the lake is managed for trophy bass, so it's got a big slot limit on it, which means most of the bass go back in this lake that are good sized bass, and they grow to be just like that one. That fish is gonna be somewhere in the 8 to 9 pound range, and he caught it on a frog swimming right over the top of one of these grass beds. All right, we'll be back with more fishing reports, much more coming up from Dripping Springs Lake in Oklahoma. Stay with us.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy, is brought to you by Stren, the standard of dependability, by Jean LaRue Lures and Bobby Garland Baits, quality soft plastic baits made in Oklahoma with American pride. Chevy Silverado, the official truck of the outdoors, and Mercury Marine.
Got him. Swimming at the boat. That's a decent fish. Oh, I got one. All right. No monster or anything like that, but hey, welcome back everybody. This is Dripping Springs Lake, located just outside Okmulgee, Oklahoma. There's that biffle bug again. I'm gonna show it to you at the end. Got kind of a knot on the side of his head, just a kind of a long, skinny bass, but a good one nonetheless. We're gonna let him go right in here. Chip breath, baby. See ya. There are literally miles of these reeds, cattails, bulrushes. I don't know exactly what you call those, but they can be loaded with bass. Now I'll tell you, we've probably caught, me and the cameraman fished before now, and we probably caught a dozen little bass about 1.5 pounds, flipping right down the edges of these bulrushes here, and then finally caught a good one, about 3 pounds, the one you just saw. But all you do is you just go along here, underhanded pitch and flip, pitch right into the edge, hop it a couple of times. If one doesn't bite it, reel it back in and flip it right back in there again, and just keep putting it right along the edges of those reeds, and one is going to bite it right here at Dripping Springs Lake in Oklahoma. All right, let's move along right now and check on the rest of the Sooner State. Here's Gary Dollahan.
One weekend I really like seeing on the calendar is the Memorial Day weekend, because here in Oklahoma, by this time of year, the fish are much more predictable than they have been during the spring months. If you're going bass fishing this weekend, make sure you have a Zara spook, a buzzbait, and a floating three-legged frog tied on. One of those baits is going to do really well for you this upcoming weekend. If you are looking for white bass, you're going to be happy to know they're back in the places they should be in the main parks of the lake right now. Look for the top of the road beds, the top of the humps, around the bridge pillars, or some of the long points. Closer to the main river channel and the current, the better it's going to be. As far as a magical depth, look 12 to 14 foot of water. Keep that jig and spoon or your crappie jig bouncing right on top of that structure at that depth. You're going to catch them there. If you got the kids along with you this weekend, make sure you take some live worms. Lots of really good bluegill fishing right now, and there's some nice ones. Use a number 6 gold Aberdeen hook, a very small piece of worm on there, one split shot up about 6 to 8 inches above the hook, and if you're fishing from a dock, tight line that about 4 to 6 foot deep. One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go. Happy Memorial Day.
Did you know that the month of June is catfish spawning time around the southwest region, one of the best times to catch channel and blue catfish all across the southwest? And did you know that Cedar Creek Lake, located in east central Texas, is one of the best catfishing lakes in the entire state of Texas? So let's show you some hot spots on it right now on the Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week, and let's go to the Lowrance HDS10 with the Insight Shaded Relief Mapping. We locate Cedar Creek Lake just north of Malakoff, Texas on the south end, and Maybank, Texas up on the north end. We highlight the shallow flats on the north end of the lake for these spawning catfish. You can see that State Highway 334 crosses the lake here just west of Gun Barrel City. Now we're going to feature the flat area north of the bridge. We zoom in and switch to the Navionics Hot Maps Platinum chart. We locate that same 334 bridge at the bottom of the screen. Now we highlight the 4 areas that catfish will spawn. I've caught catfish in all of these areas. Most of this area heavily timbered, so be very careful running your boat. The cats will spawn in all of these areas around flooded standing trees. You can use cut shad or prepared dough baits for great success. And don't pay any attention if that water up there is muddy. It stays murky most of the year, but you can still get those catfish to bite. That's this week's Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have the Louisiana Fishing Report with Cajun Phil and Kevin.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy, is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life. By Navionics. Enjoy Navionics anytime, anywhere. By Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Motor Guide Trolling Motors.
Hey everybody, your Southwest Outdoors Report is on the road today in the middle part of Oklahoma, near Okmulgee, Oklahoma, at Dripping Springs Lake and Dripping Springs State Park. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that there are 2 lakes here, Dripping Springs upstream and Okmulgee Lake, which was actually built in the 1920s, the older lake, which is downstream. Okmulgee Lake is loaded with crappie, and we're showing you some video here, a couple of crappie that I caught yesterday down on Okmulgee Lake. Now, the video I'm showing you is of the 2 biggest crappie that I caught yesterday. That lake is actually overpopulated with small crappie. So if you're going to Okmulgee Lake, you're going to be catching a lot of 6 to 8 inch crappie. And the wildlife department is asking folks to take those crappie out of here. Just go ahead and keep them, take them home, fillet them. They're trying to weed out the population of undersized crappie in Okmulgee Lake. But as you can see, you can catch some nice crappie. Check it out. All right, let's move in right now and check on Louisiana with Cajun Phil and Kevin, your Cajun Bites.
Tell you what, you guys caught me coming back from the eastern part of our state where old Cajuns been checking out the high water conditions over there. Want to let you know we just crossed Lake Pontchartrain a while ago. Want to tell everybody that the western part of Lake Pontchartrain, it is high, muddy, and extremely rough. I'm talking about the waves are flowing, and it's all from the current. As far as the eastern part, it's still pretty good looking water. They are still catching a few speckled trout and redfish under the trestles. We also went to Delacroix, talked to Captain Jack and Cindy. While we were there, everybody was coming in with limited speckled trout and a bunch of redfish. Drove over to Lafitte, Louisiana, talked to Tofield Bourgeois, same story. Tofield says Cajun, everybody's limiting out with speckled trout very early in the morning. Then we go out and we chop for a few redfish. Made a call down to Venice, Louisiana. They say they're catching a few along the Gulf, but as far as the ponds, they're all high, they're muddy, and it says do not travel the Mississippi. The water's high, it's rough, it's dangerous, and there's a lot of floating logs. We crossed the Henderson Lake a while ago. I would not go freshwater fishing anywhere around the Chapelizod Basin. We saw flooded homes, we saw flooded camps. I mean, the water is high. So as far as the Chapelizod Basin goes, that thing's whacked for a long time.
Stay right here with us because coming up next, we've got your Big Catch of the Week photo, your Ask the Pro, and the Academy Right Stuff. Coming right back to Dripping Springs Lake in Oklahoma.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy, is brought to you by Academy. Right stuff, low price, every day. Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. Costa Del Mar Sunglasses. See what's out there. And by Chevy Silverado, the official truck of the outdoors.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time now for our Ask the Pro feature. Our question this week comes to us from a viewer in Dallas who wants to know, when buying a bait cast reel, does the amount of ball bearings it has really matter? For the answer, let's ask two-time FLW championship winner, Shaw Grigsby.
When you buy a bait cast reel, you can buy them with, very few bearings, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearings, all the way up to 11 ball bearings. And what that does is it supports the drive shaft. So the more ball bearings you have, the more support you have, which means basically it can handle heavier loads and it'll work a little smoother. Now, when you get up to those real high ball bearings like 11, then they start putting them in to the ball bearings on the handles, which just makes that smoother. So if you spin the handle, you can see even the little paddle on the handle spins very, very freely. So what that does, that creates a very smooth reel, which gives you a very good feel. And if you have a reel that's smooth, you can feel more of what your bait's doing, catch a few more fish. So you make the choice whether you want low ball bearings or a lot of ball bearings. And I like a lot of ball bearings.
If you have a question for one of the pros, just visit our website at southwestouttdoorsreport.com, click on the Ask the Pro link, and send us your information. Now let's get you back to Barry for our Whataburger Big Catch of the Week.
This week on the Big Catch of the Week, our photo comes to us from young Garrett Gibson of Highland Village, Texas. He is shown with a gigantic 21-pound striped bass he caught out of the Red River below Lake Texoma. Congratulations to Garrett, a great photo there. If you'd like to enter our contest, simply go to our website, southwestouttdoorsreport.com. Everything you'll need in the top right-hand corner where you can send us your big fish photo, send us your Ask the Pro question, read my weekly blog, check on the Chevy Kidfish schedule, and much more. Next up on this week's Academy Right Stuff feature, I promised earlier that I would show you how I caught the bass on today's show, how we rigged it. First of all, the bait is a Jean LaRue biffle bug, and this is a dark color, kind of a black with some red flake in it. It's got a big wide body, a flat tail, some swimming legs on both sides of it. It presents a big profile for the bass. Now, to Texas rig it, as you can see, I've slid a cone-shaped or a bullet-shaped weight onto the line in front of the hook. The hook is about a 4/0 offset worm hook, and here's how the Texas rig goes. You stick the point of the hook right into the nose of the bait, take it out about a 1/2 inch, bring the hook out, then grab the shank of the hook, turn it around, bury the eye of the hook inside the bait like that, and here's the key. Pinch the lure up, stick the point of the hook all the way through the bait where it's exposed on the other side. Then we're going to skin hook it. To do that, we push it up just a little bit and just barely bury the point of the hook right under the skin of the bait, and that is your classic Texas rig. Next up, let me mention the show times for next week's show. And most of the region will be on at our usual time slot at 10:30 Thursday night. Except for those of you in the Houston area, you'll see the show late next week only. It'll be on after the late Astros game, and it's going to start somewhere around midnight after the Astros post-game show. And in the entire region, you can always see our show Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. Also, you can watch last week's episode each and every week on our website at southwestouttdoorsreport.com. Right on the front page is a play link. It'll bring up a little window and it will play the current episode 24/7. You can see all the archived past episodes of our show on our YouTube channel at youtube.com. Search for Southwest Outdoors Report. And finally, I want to mention our Facebook page. Lots of video, still photos, and comments on the Facebook page that you don't get here on the television show. Look us up at facebook.com. Search for Southwest Outdoors Report with Barry Stokes, and you'll get our page. Click on the like link. Everything we post will automatically be sent to your newsfeed or your wall. Hey, thanks for joining us today from the middle part of Oklahoma. Two good lakes, Okmulgee, Dripping Springs, beautiful state parks, great campsites, fantastic place for a visit and a nice fishing trip for bass or crappie. See you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.